near Golden Valley, Arizona. We're going to run the Sleeping Princess. Now on Onyx, it got it rated an 8 out of 10, but there hasn't been a trail report on it for some time, and we're going to go out here and see what we can find. One of the local people just stopped a little bit ago, says it's a pretty trail, not too difficult, so I'm suspicious of the 8 out of 10 rating that's on Onyx, but we'll find out, and I'll give you a trail report. We'll see you in a little bit. Bye for now. Looks like we got some of the local wildlife there. We did just come through a ranch, so about 8 miles in, or let me see here, about 10 miles in, you're going to come across a ranch that you want to take it easy through there. You know, that's their home. Just be respectful of it. Well, how rude of me, I didn't even give you a wet weather report. It's partly cloudy, 85 degrees, humidity is about 12. All right, here's the first little stop we got. Just a little, looks like it's a little dilapidated from the last time folks were here. Let's see, I think it says Wayfarer Inn. Yeah, Wayfarers Inn. Huh. It definitely has seen better days. Well, guys, stopped to run the drone, but it's not cooperating. So we're just gonna head on down the road here till I can get some signal and figure out what's wrong with it. In the meantime, you can enjoy some of the trail. So far, we're about 2/3 of the way through the trail, and there has not been a single obstacle. Alrighty, well, we gotta wait till we get serviced to fix the rest of this stuff, so enjoy the ride. And I got some splitting the trail up here and some BLM information, so I guess we will take a look. Sleeping Princess Trail, OHV Trail, adopted by the Bullhead Four-Wheelers Incorporated. So, I don't know. I guess the hard part of this starts now. Is that what they're trying to imply? Well, it looks like there's a pretty cool thing to go look at off to the right here, so we might as well go have a peek at it. There's the donkey. There's your donkey. Hey, buddy. How you doing? You down here to the water? Where's the rest of your family? Oh wow, look at that view. Holy cow. That's amazing. Well, it's like what happens on these trails sometimes. It shows you off the trail, and the next thing you know, you're on the trail. So we're evidently still on the trail. This might get interesting right down here. I see the road goes to a cliff. So this may be the end of it, or we may be driving down something pretty interesting. So here's one of those situations where I'm gonna go walk that trail down there because you can tell that nobody's been here for a very long time. We got a nice spot here we can turn around if we need to. And just down there a bit, looks like there's no road left. Like it's washed out. So, that being said, stand by, I'm gonna grab the handheld and head down that way. Yep, on the handheld here. Let's see if there's any, that looks like it. It's washed out just right down here. And you can see there's no tracks, not even from side by sides in here. So I imagine this road's gone. That's going to be very, very gnarly. You're going to drop off to the, there ain't even enough room there for the Jeep. Look at that. My Jeep tire would be right about there. That ain't gonna work for me. And I bet there is water in that spring. Look at down there. Look at all the trees. Well, we'll come down here this far. We can't drive down here, but we can walk. I don't see any standing water. Sometimes you find spots there'll be little pools on these things, but yeah, this is pretty dry already. So I'm not thinking there will be. Yep, okay, we ain't going up there. I'll go down here where the other vegetation was. See what's right over this hill. Well, there's got to be good water. There's a cedar tree there. Up here where the road split, and we will continue on the Sleeping Princess Trail. Okay, so the sign says this is actually the beginning of the Sleeping Princess. On X shows the whole route, so I'm assuming that someone along the line just made it a loop instead of just the portion of the trail. Well, I saved the track. I'll turn it into OnX, and we'll see what the rest of the Sleeping Princess Trail has to offer. So far, I'd say it's probably a 3 or 4 on the rating. Definitely not an 8. But the sign says possible vehicle damage beyond this point, so we'll see what the rest of it brings. But to this this point, about to the top of the hill where the sign is, and we're 21 miles in, and the trail's 27.3. So there you go. Get a look at it there. I guess you can see it off there. That's Mojave Lake. All right. Pretty neat view up here. Okay, we're leaving the Mojave Lake overlook. Or one of them anyways. Here we go. Yeah, read that sign right there. This is straight down. I would just say for the folks that are faint of heart, hope the wind ain't messing this up too bad. But at this point, you're probably just moved this up to a 5. For this trail. Just for this section right here alone. Very slickery. It's a little off camber, but it's off camber into the hills, so it's not too bad. Holy cow, that's windy. And it's narrow, but not too awful bad. You just got to watch your rear tire placement as you come around the corners. Take her nice and easy. Now, if you're afraid of shelf roads, you're probably not going to like this. Here's a little step down, but it's not bad. Maybe a 18-incher. And right here, you're off camber a little bit to the downhill side, but not bad at all. Pointing down so much you can't see the rock formations in front of us here. Maybe we will after we get off this and we level out a little bit, but it's really cool. There we go. Now you can kind of see a little bit of it. Here's a nice drop off. This is probably about a 3-footer. Drop right off into this hole here. Yeah, 3-footer. Nice. You know, I still wouldn't call this an 8. Maybe 6, 5 to 6 so far. I was going to try to help out and barely catch that and move it off a little bit, but didn't work out. That's all right. coming up here in a bit is the beginning of what they call the Hell's Half Mile. And you got a decision to make. Go to the left, you go down through the wash, and it's more or less a buggy trail. It looked like to me. I walked a little bit of it. And off to the right here is the bypass. I think you could probably make it through there to the left if you had a well-built vehicle. I could probably make it. But for the most part, I think you're going to want to stay right here. And here's one of those situations where the camera just does not do this hill justice. This is extremely loose, extremely steep, and off camber to the right. Here, I'm navigating my way down to set up one of the cameras for some of the shots here. But, I don't know if you can really tell it here, but as I'm coming down this hill, I touch the brakes just a little bit too much, and the back end starts sliding, trying to come around me to the right. Anyways, it'll make your butt pucker a little bit. So it's a fun little drive. Alright, well, I'm trying some different camera angles here. You can look there and see the one on the fender. And let me know what you think of this. It just kind of gives you a different perspective. And what I'm seeing as I go through here, what I'm actually driving over. Sorry about the drone footage for this video. Got someplace where I can get a little bit of signal. It turns out that my controller wasn't initializing all the updates that had gone out recently, so it would not allow me to fly. Hopefully we'll have them for next time around, and well, you know, that's the way it goes sometimes. Just a good reminder that before you go out on, you're going to shoot some video and stuff, you might want to sit down and spend some time making sure all your cameras and drones are updated with the latest firmware. Right here, directly to my right, about 2.5 feet, is the top of that waterfall we were just stopped at the bottom of. And, well, folks, this is what makes this trail an 8. And we do not come out of this without damage. I'm also truly disappointed that I don't have the drone up through this part, because this would have been excellent drone footage. I'll probably come back and just do this section and throw the drone up over the tops, because yeah, it's hard to film technical stuff like this by yourself. I do the best I can. I don't get the best shots or the best angles, but it should give you a pretty good idea what I was going through here. Pretty good trail. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Tore up my awning, but it was still a lot of fun. So right along here, I'm using the shadow of the Jeep. And as you can see, the shadows coming down the side of that cliff face there. The sun's directly in front of me and overhead. And I can see the shadow of the Jeep, but you see how that rock face kind of protrudes out there? Well, the opposite side there pitches you into that. So I was watching my shadow on the ground as I went by to see how close my awning was getting, and right in here I was just barely touching, so I stacked a few rocks, and I went ahead and powered through it anyways. Got over to the right as far as I can see, but over to the right there's a pretty good hump that throws you right into the rock face here, and I think that's what got the awning. It completely destroyed the awning cover and put a few little nicks in the awning itself. Pretty expensive mistake here. One of the things that I thought about later I should have done was got out and completely aired down the right side and aired up on the left side, and I probably would have made it through this without a problem. Now just coming out of that gap, you come to this, and this was a pretty hairy little obstacle here, and as you'll see here in a minute, there's a V-cut in this granite that's about 4.5 feet deep, and there's a ridge right next to it. I have to put my driver's side tire on the top of that ridge and ride it up almost perfectly straight. If I go any more to the right, then I'm hitting the side of the wash, the heavy rocks there, or the big rocks there. So I really can't go any further right. If I slip off to the left, I'm going to roll the Jeep right here. And this is literally probably 3 inches wide at the top right there. And if you slide off, you're done. You're calling for some help. But this, like I said, this trail was just, I was kind of disappointed. I was like, this isn't no 8, this is a 3 or 4. Now the neat thing is that this little loop right here that I'm on right now is completely separate from the main trail. So if you're just coming out to do some sightseeing, see the geology, look at the lake, look at the scenery, you can bypass this. This loop literally pulls off of and back onto the trail at the exact same spot. You're just making a big loop back to the trail. So you can completely avoid this section if you want. got the cover. Look at that. All the way through. One little spot there. Anyways. Yeah, gotta get a new awning cover. Good. Big ass Jeep. All right, I'm gonna take it easy for a while and just drive. We'll just use the front one. Now right here is the main trail, and directly in front of us, we're coming back out on it. Now we're headed back the direction we came, and we have to go up here and turn around But I'll show you here. I mean, this is what a loop this is. Now to the right there is where you start that loop, and right down here is where you come back out. So right here is where we just came out of, and back up onto the trail, and you can see the drainage there off to the right a little bit. Anyways, pretty good trail. Very much enjoyed it. I know you heard me get a little excited there on those step ups. The reason being is this is basically, other than the suspension and everything, a stock Jeep JKU Sport. Not real good gear ratios. It's an automatic. It's what I got. It's what I built up. It's on Dana 44s. It weighs a lot, so I got a lot of stuff in it. And because I do so much solo, I want to make sure I can't leave recovery gear behind. I can't leave things behind that can get me out of trouble. So it adds a lot of weight to the vehicle. So I get really, really excited when I can navigate something like that by myself without issues, other than my own. All right, enjoy the rest of this, and see you next time.